This is the Secure Family Podcast. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the host and the founder of The Secure Dad. This show is all about empowering parents to protect themselves and their family. I believe that security is the foundation of happiness. I want your family to be safe and happy. If that sounds like something that resonates with you, subscribe to the show because there is always something new to talk about. The information that I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family because our safety is our own responsibility. Today, I'm going to share about retail store surveillance and what that means for our privacy because there have been some big changes recently. All of that and more coming up on the Secure Family Podcast. Have you ever wondered who's actually buying your information from data brokers? It can be private citizens, marketers, and even law enforcement. I'm not completely okay with all of that. Also, scammers and even cyber criminals can buy your information. They can misuse your data and trick you out of your money and your personal banking details. They use your real data to send convincing phishing emails, target your family with fake offers, or worse, commit identity theft using your personal information. And to top it all off, buying from these sketchy people search sites is legal. This is why I feel Delete Me is important. None of the groups I mentioned before should have my personal information. I know Delete Me is going to remove my personal data from hundreds of data broker sites. Right now, you can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/dad and use promo code DAD at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/dad, code DAD. Delete Me is a sponsor of the Secure Family Podcast. When you walk into a store, you expect to shop. But what you might not expect is that your car, your face, or even your voice could be captured, analyzed, and possibly shared with police or other third parties. Today, we have to deal with something called smart retail. This is technology that's being integrated into our everyday shopping. It's been slowly happening over the last few years, but now thanks to AI, things have gotten much more concerning for privacy-minded people. So today, we're exploring how retail surveillance is growing. We'll discuss facial recognition, self-checkout surveillance, and how AI cameras and license plate readers can be tied directly into police networks. And I'll even tell you why some stores are using this tech to combat shoplifting, but are not actually stopping shoplifters from shoplifting. So what is smart retail? On the surface, that doesn't sound bad, but businesses use technology to enhance in-person shopping. They do this by tracking demographics, foot traffic, shopping behaviors, and connecting it to things like loyalty programs and how to figure out how to make more targeted ads for you and me. And while we're at it, let's make the important distinction between facial detection and facial recognition. Detection identifies a human face to let the system know that a human is there to do something, and it means the system is supposed to open a door, something simple like that. Facial recognition matches your face to a store profile to potentially identify and track you. Fun, right? Many retailers are already using this. It's not new. It's just not widely talked about. Currently, facial recognition is being used for spotting repeat shoplifters. It's tied to loyalty programs and sometimes paired with credit card snapshots at the self-checkout. This seems like a lot of work and that it's very complicated. So why are big retailers doing this? Well, data monetization is becoming big business. It's not just about identifying shoplifters. Our purchasing habits in stores are valuable, and they always have been. With the rise in online retail, cookies, and trackers, these brick-and-mortar stores have to keep up. They have to create a profile about their customers in the store. That's extraordinarily valuable information. Companies are collecting a complete profile on us to better understand our buying habits and how to target us more effectively. I think if they just lower their prices, that would fix a lot of stuff. You wouldn't need this. But what do I know? If you're concerned about the risk and misuse of this information, I don't blame you. Wrongful identification has led to lawsuits. Retailers often backtrack on this after a big public backlash, and then they quietly resume it once they think that everybody has forgotten. And if you're worried about all this data being exposed in a data breach, I get that. I completely understand. So now let's talk about the two most popular forms of cameras that we see in retail stores. First is the one that we see when we walk inside. There's a small TV screen hanging from the ceiling with a sign that says you're on camera. This is done to, 1, notify you that you are on camera and can't claim that you didn't know. And it's done as a warning to shoplifters that you will be seen stealing. Not necessarily that you'll be caught in the act, that you'll be seen. Talk a little more about that later. Plus, this camera is used as live recording evidence in conjunction with tons of other cameras in the store. And these cameras have been around since the 1980s. This is nothing new. It's just now, those cameras can be potentially used to track your face and have your data stored in various places for various purposes. Next, we've all seen the memes about this. It's the camera that takes your picture at self-checkout. You're feeling good that day about yourself and about your outfit, how you look, and then you see yourself on the camera on that self-checkout, and you just look like a bloated whale. Oh, we've all been there. The self-checkout camera humbles us all. But this camera is actually used for a few reasons, not just to take us down a peg. This camera snaps a pic or a video or both that corresponds with your payment method. This way, if your credit card is compromised and then swiped at a store, there's a picture of the person using that credit card fraudulently. Now, this can be very helpful to victims and to the police who are investigating. But it also means that this is just another way stores are getting images of you. And it builds another biometric data set without your explicit consent. But at least they tell you that it's happening, right? That's good. There is also a theft problem at self-checkout stores across the country. Usually self-checkout areas have about 4 to 6 lanes, and they're only monitored by one person. That one human can't see every transaction, so they need cameras to help spot stealing. So there you have overhead cameras and one that looks up under the cart to make sure that you pay for that massive bag of dog food that you have kept down there at the bottom. So this is all to combat shoplifting and help the person who is actually monitoring those stations. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share a little bit more about shoplifting and why stores are not stopping people from actively stealing in some cases. So now we have new cameras that are being put up in retail parking lots, and these are mainly found in home improvement stores. These are automatic license plate readers, or ALPRs. These cameras are made by companies like Motorola and Flock. In fact, if you've been to a Lowe's home improvement store, chances are your license plate has been logged by a Flock camera in their parking lot. These ALPR cameras log the plates of any car that drives by, and they log details like the plate number, the state, snaps a picture of the car, logs the bumper stickers, and other data on each vehicle. And these cameras log your car regardless if you have business at that store or not. And no, you can't opt out of it, because you're in a public place and the courts have upheld that you have no right to privacy in public, including retail parking lots. I've had attorney Stephanie Lindsay on this show who has spoken publicly about seeing Flock camera data and photos used in court. If you'd like to hear our full conversation on ALPR cameras, check out episode number 316 of this podcast. Now that this new norm is established, let's take a look at recent reporting by 404 Media. A 404 Media investigation from Joseph Cox in August of this year explains that Lowe's Home Improvements installed license plate reading cameras at 173 stores nationwide, and these cameras are from Flock. Home Depot and a few stores in Texas also added ALPR cameras, plus gunshot detecting microphones. This is not earth-shattering, but this report revealed that data from these stores was being shared directly with police, which means that the data on cars that passed by their cameras on retailer property was available to be searched by the police without a warrant or a formal request. Believe it or not, Flock cameras purchased by homeowner associations and other private entities can do the same. While I'm appreciative of 404 Media for bringing more attention to this story, this is actually in Flock's sales literature. This is nothing new. In fact, 404 Media just came out with something else that said Border Patrol had access to 80,000 Flock cameras over the span of about a month or so. So I say that to say, who knows who has access to this data? So now in the land of the free, shoppers can be logged into police-accessible databases, expanding government surveillance beyond the reach of public infrastructure. Did you ever consent to a private company that they can log your data for driving through their parking lot? Did you sign away your rights to your likeness to shop at a retail store? Did you say it was okay for a store to share with the police where you were? I didn't, and I don't think you did either. We haven't given express consent for this, and most shoppers don't even know that they're being tracked like this. They know they're being recorded, but they aren't aware of the AI tools being used to track them and that they've been added to a database, and that can be used for who knows what. This is a very slippery slope, and I don't think that this is going to go well for anybody. So why do these stores have all of this surveillance technology but still have people shoplift? We've seen countless footage from store security cameras that show people walking out with items that they didn't pay for, and the store employees don't try to stop them. So what's going on? To put it simply, if loss prevention agents or store employees try to stop a shoplifter, there are a lot of legal issues that are on the line here. If an employee gets hurt, that's workers' comp and a potential lawsuit. If the shoplifter is hurt, that's another potential lawsuit. It's actually cheaper for the store just to let people steal on a small level. Of course, if a theft ring of multiple people stealing thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, springs up, well, they're going to take care of that. But the simple stuff, they're not going to sweat it. So does this mean that the petty theft gets to keep their new TV or power tools or whatever groceries they stole? Well, yes and no. Walmart will actually find people who stole from them in the self-checkout lane and then send them a bill and take legal action. There's a ton of news stories out about that, including one where a lady was misidentified. Then some retailers are rumored to track repeat shoplifters and the total amount that they've stolen from their store. Allegedly, they do this until the thief reaches the threshold for prosecution in that state. Then they can gather data from in-store cameras, ALPR data, and even data broker information like names, addresses, and phone numbers to build a case against the shoplifter. Then supposedly, they call the police and hand all of the evidence to them for consideration for arrest and prosecution. According to this rumor, a retail store could gather enough information like a government does, enough to track someone and even contribute to their arrest. And you better hope they identify the right person, because mistakes can be made and it might take a night in jail or thousands of dollars in legal help to fix that issue. And large retail stores can make a list of people who they think are shoplifters, and then they share that with other stores at other locations. So if a suspected shoplifter steals in one town, and then they walk into the same retailer one town over, that store is alerted. Now, I do understand that stores have the right to prevent their merchandise from being stolen. I also understand that providing information to police helps get faster results and streamlines investigations. But stores are surveilling all of their customers as if they were criminals, and in some cases, sharing that information directly with police. That's not acceptable. So what does this mean for all of us? You need to realize that you may be tracked at a retail store without any sort of notice. While we kind of expect some sort of surveillance around a government building, this is not on the radar of most people at the grocery store. When stores do this, it is legal, in case you were wondering. It's their property and their rules. Stores wouldn't do this if there was a gray area that might get them sued, so we need legislation starting at the state level. While I think this is ridiculous, we are at the point where customers need to know how their image, behavior, and purchases are being tracked while they're physically in a store. There needs to be a large sign out front that tells people what they are consenting to by walking into the store or setting foot on their property. And it needs to be at the front door in large print in English and Spanish. Customers need to know if their license plate and picture of their car is being captured, if their face is being scanned or captured in video or a photo, if the police have direct access to the footage or the data. How will the data I create in the store be used? Can I opt out of being tracked? Who else has access to this data, and when's it going to be deleted? These are all legitimate questions that we just don't know the answer to. I think if a big media group were to do a story on this, and put it in the national spotlight about a particular retailer that does this, doesn't matter which one, I think the fallout would be catastrophic. If there were an expose on a store like this, their customers would go elsewhere. They would vote with their dollars not to be tracked. It would cripple a large company and send a message to other retailers that our privacy matters, and I think that kind of market correction is really needed. And California has already taken some steps towards making it better for their citizens with the California Privacy Rights Act. While I don't agree with every law from the Golden State, they are at least trying, and there is at least precedent. So now what? I want to encourage you to know what stores in your area are using surveillance tech. Tell other people what's going on. Try to raise awareness about this to your local and state officials. For more on this kind of stuff, you can check out the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the reporting from 404 Media. And the next time you walk into the store, smile, because you're on camera. In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to try to list everything OmniWatch covers in their elite plan. Dark web monitoring, credit monitoring and reports, AI scam check for emails and text, up to $2 million in identity theft insurance, up to $50,000 in scam and ransomware protection, a VPN, antivirus and malware protection, home title monitoring. Okay, and there's actually more. But you get the point. All of that and more for $20 a month. Try OmniWatch today with a $1 7-day trial at the link in the show notes. It's one of the best values to protect your family. That's all we have for the Secure Family Podcast for today. Take back your privacy and personal data with help from Delete Me. Get 20% off a privacy plan when using the code DAD at checkout. Delete Me is the official data removal service of the Secure Dad. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new today, I'd be grateful if you'd follow the show, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or leave a 5-star review. Your support helps me reach more families, and that truly means a lot to me. OmniWatch is a scam and identity protection service that monitors your data, alerts you to threats, and backs you up with insurance. Try OmniWatch for 7 days for only $1. Get started at the link in the show notes. Learn how to freeze your child's credit with my free guide. I'll share why this is important, how the process works, and help you gather all the information that you need to get started. This guide is presented by OmniWatch, and you can download it for free at the link in the show notes. If you'd like to know more about the Secure Dad, join me on Instagram and TikTok. My username for both platforms is The Secure Dad. I'm Andy Murphy, reminding you that our safety is our own responsibility.